Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, bless, Most High in Christ, bless. Captain Matthew here, IUIC New Orleans, and this is another In the Classroom class. All right, today's topic is going to be the introvert prophet. All right, the introvert prophet. So we have to get to know this type of way of thinking because a lot of people put off this thinking on being an introvert. Like, oh, well, I don't communicate because I'm an introvert. Well, I don't really reach out and talk to people because I'm an introvert. I don't really do this or that because I'm an introvert. Well, we're going to touch on that today, and all praises, brothers and sisters, will get edified. All right? So we're going to start off with the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
So the things that was written aforetime was written for us to learn from. All right? That's why we're going to use the scriptures. We're going to filter everything in life through the scriptures. This is what we need to get used to doing. That way we don't think of our own mind. We don't go off of our own emotions. We go by what the scriptures have said. All right? So, starting off, let's go ahead with the article, Understanding the Negative Traits of Introverts. Read that also.
Understanding the negative traits of introverts. What to look out for.
All right, so the negative traits of introverts is one of these things to look out for. All right, so let's click on social awkwardness. Read that.
Social awkwardness. Introverts may have a tendency for social discomfort. This isn't necessarily because of a lack of interest in relationships. It's more that they prefer subdued interactions.
So the reason why this article is kind of good to go over is because they give you what Esau says about introverts. But if you're a prophet of the Most High God, you've been called into this truth to do a job, it's impossible for you to be an introvert. It's impossible for you to be married to a prophet and be an introvert. Impossible. You have to form relationships. Subdued relationships just means those little pity-patty relationships, those little pity-patty, I only see you on the Sabbath and feast day relationships. Spurts of relationships. That's what that's going into. Read on.
Small talk can be tricky for them.
That's what a lot of people say. I want to call, but I don't know what to say. I want to talk, but I don't know what to talk about. Read.
They crave deeper connections, which can make it hard to start conversations or express themselves. This can give off the impression that they're shy, aloof, or uninterested.
So if you're giving off the impression that you're uninterested, what do you think people are going to generally think? That you're uninterested. They're not going to think you're shy. There's no room for shyness in Israel. You understand? So let's start off with the scriptures to correct that type of behavior. Let's go to Jude verse 19. So it says that those people can give off the impression that they are shy, aloof, or uninterested. All right. Sometimes it may look like this in the scriptures. Read.
The book of Jude, verse 19. These be they who separate themselves, sensual, having not the Spirit.
It said, these be they who separate themselves, sensual, meaning emotional, having not the Spirit. If you have these traits of social awkwardness, oh, I just don't want to be around nobody, I don't know what, you're emotional. You got to put that to the side. The scriptures say, put off now the weak nature. Get that 2nd Ezra 13, 2nd Ezra 14 and 34. Let's see what the scriptures is actually talking about when it comes to those emotional ways of thinking. Read that.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, in verse 34. No, you want verse 14.
I want verse 34.
Yes, sir. Verse 34. Therefore, if so be that ye will subdue your own understanding.
You got to subdue your own understanding when it comes to social awkwardness. You have to subdue that understanding. You can't go off of, oh, well, I just feel like this. I know I give off the impression that I'm uninterested, but I am interested. I just don't want to talk, but I want conversation. That's confusion. We have to understand that this way of thinking, that's not having the Spirit. Go back to Jude. Verse 19 again.
The book of Jude, verse 19. These be they who separate themselves, sensual, having not the Spirit.
Those people are sensual, having not the Spirit. You cannot be a introvert, calling yourself socially awkward, and not apply what's actually written. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. We're going to start at verse 1. So how do we overcome this social awkwardness? So we're going to get the answers to these issues as we go along. Read that.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity.
If we don't have charity with one another, read.
I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal.
So if we don't have charity, and let's go into some of the traits of being charitable. Let's see if social awkwardness can fit into you being charitable. Jump down to verse 4.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. Charity suffereth long.
Charity suffereth long.
And is kind.
And is kind. How can you be kind and you're socially awkward? How can you show kindness, you're socially awkward? How can you suffer long, you socially awkward? Read.
Charity envieth not.
Charity envieth not. Read.
Charity vaunteth not itself.
You can't vaunt yourself. Oh, I don't do that. I'm an introvert. I can't do that. I'm an introvert. There's a lot of characteristics of introverts that may make you look like you're out the Spirit. But following the scriptures will correct that. Read.
Is not puffed up.
Is not puffed up. Read.
Doth not behave itself unseemly.
And you can't behave yourself unseemly if you ain't around people to be. Read.
Seeketh not her own.
That's seeking your own. Talking about, oh, I'm not this or I'm not that because I'm an introvert. Well, I don't really come around because I'm an introvert. You're seeking your own. I feel comfortable in my little bubble, so I'm not going to come around anybody. I'm just going to stay on my little side, and I'm not going to do anything to try to get myself out of that mentality. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. This way of thinking is not biblical. That's why the Bible is the medicine for everything that we go through. Read.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
We got to gather together. That's what the scriptures say. The scriptures say to gather together, O nation not desired. You socially awkward, so you're not going to gather together. You socially awkward, so you're not going to come around people so that you can actually learn to get over that fear. And we get it. Some people come into the truth with baggage. You come into the truth with church hurt, relationship hurt, trust issues. You got your guard up. There's many reasons why people do what they do. But the scriptures is here to heal you of that mentality. Read on.
Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you.
It said gather together before the day of destruction. And as you can see, with all of the prophecies coming to pass, with all of the work that's being put out in the earth, the way the angels is being activated, you can see that the end of the world is coming. The day of the Lord's anger is getting close. Why would you want to be by yourself in the day of the Lord's anger? Let's go back to the article. Go back up to the table of contents. Now, let's go to avoidance. So if you're socially awkward, 9 times out of 10, you're going to try to avoid being in social circles. Let's read that.
Avoidance. Individuals with introverted tendencies can exhibit avoidance in various forms, like social avoidance.
Social avoidance. So if you are socially awkward and you're not one to be around people in social settings, you're going to avoid them, which is going to make you look Jude 19 emotional, not having the spirit. Read.
Decision-making avoidance.
That's another one. Decision-making avoidance. And a lot of people do that. Well, whatever y'all want to do. Well, whatever happens. Hey, you know you got to make a decision on whether you're going to cut that person off because they're going against the scriptures, right? Get Romans 16 and 17. This is what I've seen, my short time in this truth, of what introverted people tend to exhibit. Romans chapter 16.
The book of Romans, chapter 16, verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned.
So when you look at that, you already avoid social interaction. So you find one person to be socially interactive with. You so introverted, you put all of your energy and all of your trust into that one person. And then they bug out and then you follow them because 1, friendship, and 2, you don't have the decision-making skills to cut that person off. So you avoid making the decision. You avoid having to put yourself in an uncomfortable position to do what the scriptures actually tell you to do. Go back to the article. Go ahead. Read the whole thing again.
Yes, sir. Individuals with introverted tendencies can exhibit avoidance in various forms, like social avoidance.
Social avoidance.
Decision-making avoidance.
And as a leader, we cannot be afraid to make decisions. That's why this class is called the Introvert Prophet. Because men, we got to get out of that mentality. You cannot be a leader and have an avoidance of making decisions. You have to make decisions in this truth. Read.
Or confrontation avoidance.
Confrontation avoidance. I've seen that where brothers will have a person standing in front of them with a blunt in their ear, smoking a cigarette, and they talking about, hey, brother, you know today is a Sabbath day. Will never address the sin that's right before them because you know it's going to piss that person off. And now you got confrontation avoidance. You don't want to say nothing. You don't want to say this. Isaiah 58:1. You don't want to say this. You don't want to say that. You want to avoid the confrontation. No. This truth that we in is confrontational. Everything that we've done has caused confrontation. The scriptures have shown that everywhere the prophets went and they taught, it caused confrontation. And we can't be afraid of it. Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet and show my people their transgressions.
That's the job of a prophet, to show the people their transgressions. But if you got confrontation avoidance, you're not going to show them their transgressions. You're going to keep everything politically correct. You're going to keep everything simple. You're going to keep everything not about them and what they're going on personally. You're going to keep it about everything broad. Hey, look at the color of Christ. Meanwhile, he's standing there with his girlfriend, and they just told you that they ain't married. Meanwhile, they sitting there, sister got a whole hair weave full of blonde hair. You trying to uplift them by telling them what? The Feast of Dedication is a feast day we should follow. You ain't never dealt with the sin that's before them. Now, there's nothing wrong with talking about the Sabbath or the color of Christ or the feast days. But if you did not address the sin before you, what good would that do to that person? How are they going to get healed according to the word of God if you don't address their sickness? Go back to the article. Read that.
Social avoidance may mean they skip social gatherings and avoid interactions with others.
So they skip social gatherings. Y'all know those people. Sabbath attendance is 150, 165. New moon attendance is 35, 40. Y'all know what happens. They skipping those social events because half of them, they only good on the Sabbath. They want those subdued interactions. Back to the article. Go ahead.
Decision-making avoidance could cause them to delay important decisions, leading to negative consequences.
And you know, that happens a lot in Israel. Decision-making avoidance, you will delay making a decision, and that's going to make the problems worse. That's going to make the problems worse. That's why we have to deal with things as they come. We have to deal with things where they are right then and there. Don't wait. Don't avoid it. Read on.
Conflict resolution may be avoided due to confrontation avoidance.
And that's where people refuse to actually apply what's written. Go to Matthew 18. Confrontation avoidance will guarantee that this scripture is never followed.
Verse 15.
Yep, Matthew 18:15.
The book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
So, if you got confrontation avoidance, you will never apply Matthew 18. Because in your own thoughts, your vain imagination, you're going to think of 1,000 different things of how it could go wrong. Instead of just applying what's written and doing what you've been instructed to do according to the word of God. You'll avoid that and things will go worse. Next thing you know, you telling somebody else about the problem. And what's that called? Murmuring. So now you got an issue with your brother, and now you murmuring about it. Why did you do it? I'm an introvert, so I don't really know how to talk. Nah, get over that. Read that. Read on.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
You have to have faith and trust in the word of God that you will gain your brother or your sister. Not think, oh, well, I don't know what they may say. I don't want to cause nothing. I don't want to ruffle no feathers. Nah, our feathers get ruffled every day. Esau has no problem ruffling your feathers. We supposed to be family. You can't be real with your own family. The scriptures talk about dissimulation. Go back to the article. Go ahead.
Furthermore, trying new things and taking risk may be avoided because of fear of failure or discomfort with change.
Look at that there. Ain't that the truth? I know a lot of people could relate to that. They don't want to try nothing new because they don't want to seem like they're gonna fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to say something that's or I don't want to do something and I get chewed out. Why not just put your best foot forward? Why not just try it? You can't win if you don't play. Go back to the article. Read.
It is essential to recognize these tendencies. Push out of your comfort zone.
That's the point. You have to push out of your comfort zone. I'm going to show you somebody that was in their comfort zone. Go to Numbers chapter 32. Numbers chapter 32. Yes, there were times when Israel was in their comfort zone. And we're going to see who was in their comfort zone. Numbers chapter 32 and verse 5.
The book of Numbers, chapter 32, verse 5. Wherefore, said they, if we have found grace in thy sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession, and bring us not over Jordan.
Read.
And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall ye sit here?
So they was in their comfort zone. Like, look, man, I don't want to go over Jordan. Y'all, you just let us stay over here in this little area right here. We going to claim this to be our own, and y'all do what y'all do across Jordan. Like, nah, man, we got to go across Jordan and go fight. So y'all going to sit over here in your comfort zone and your brothers got to go to war? The hell kind of stuff is that? We got to get over. We got to get out of that type of mentality. Go back to the article. Go back up to the table of contents. Overthinking. All right, go ahead.
Overthinking. Introverts often overanalyze and fixate on things. This heightened sensitivity to people and their surroundings can consume them with deep analysis, making them worry about what others think and feel.
Sirach 3:24. Come on now. I know that's a lot of people. You worried about what others think and feel. You got a poor self-image, and instead of you addressing it, or instead of you taking correction that may help you get over that self-image, now you take everything to heart. Now you so deep into your thoughts that now this happens. Read that, Sirach 3:24.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, which is Sirach, chapter 3, verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion.
You are deceived by your own vain opinion. Oh, I'm just an overthinker. I just be lost in my thoughts. Nah. You're not You're not lost in your thoughts. You deceived by your own vain opinion. Read.
And in evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment.
And this is how it works. You overthink. You got an evil suspicion. Therefore, you're not going to come around people because you got evil suspicions of them. You're probably murmuring to somebody about it, some trusted person that ain't correcting you about murmuring. And then you're avoiding confrontation and avoiding the social interaction with them altogether. And it starts because you was overthinking. All of this is a trickle effect. All of these things are connected. And we mask it as calling it introversion. But it's really you out the spirit. That's what it is. Out the spirit completely. That's why Jude 19 says what it says. Go to Sirach 32 and verse 7. Sirach chapter 32 and verse 7.
The book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee.
And as prophets, there's always a need for us to speak. As wives of prophets, there's always a need for you to speak. Because I'm going to show you why. Go to Titus chapter 2. Titus chapter 2. I'm going to show you why there's always a need for you to speak. Men and women. Titus chapter 2, verse 2.
The book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 2. That the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience.
How you going to know if an aged man is grave or temperate or sound in faith? He going to have to talk to you. And as aged men, they got to teach the young men. So speak if there be need of thee. You always got a need of you. You always got a need. Now, there are some times where you're around the elders where you should shut your mouth. Because not all the time does a young man need to open his mouth in front of older men. That's why it says, speak if there be need of thee. Around the elders, there may not always be a need for you to speak. That we understand. But with each other, nah. Because then, I don't want to say the wrong thing. We just read in the article earlier that you don't communicate well when you're an introvert. You avoid social interactions. You don't know what to say. I want to talk, but I don't know what to say. Speak if there be need. Every time you reach out to somebody, it doesn't have to be a 45-minute, hour conversation. You could just call them and say hello. You never know what the person on the other end may be going through. You never know. I'm going to give you a sidebar, a little story. So we was on our way to a blitz one time, and one of my brothers came across my mind, and I called him. I just wanted to say shalom to him. Hey, see, you know what I'm saying, what's going on? Letting him know, hey, man, we're about to hit the blitz. He was like, bro, I'm so glad you called me. Man, I'm going through it right now. And he had to vent. So that phone call where all I was going to do was legit 5 minutes. Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless, what's going on? Yeah, man, we about to hit the blitz. I just called him to say what's up. Probably go on for maybe a minute and a half and hang the phone up. But he needed that call at that time. That goes back into charity, thinking not its own. You ain't thinking about yourself. I don't want to call because I don't know what to say. Get that little evil suspicion out your head and make the phone call. Because they may need you more than you need to reach out to them. You don't want to do it because of your vain thoughts, but they need you to do it because they going through it. That's gathering together. That's charity. Go back to the article.
This excessive worrying can be disruptive, lead to anxiety, stress, and even depression. Introverts may focus on potential negative outcomes or review past events too much.
That is one of the main things. That goes back to that evil suspicion. That's what that goes back to. But watch this. Go to Sirach 30:24. Sirach 30:24.
The book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 24. Envy and wrath shorten the life.
Envy and wrath shorten the life. Why? Because heightened amounts of stress causes your heart to beat faster, causes your heart to work harder, which shortens your life. They say if you laugh, I think you add like 10 minutes to your life or something like that. Laughter adds time to your life because you're not stressing. You're not putting a strain on your body at all times, which is what introverts do. Because you such overthinking, you so avoiding everything that your body is so stressed out that you become depressed. And you wonder why you're depressed. You wonder why you just can't seem to get happy on nothing because you don't allow yourself to. Read on.
And carefulness bringeth age before the time.
You ever saw those people that's young but they look old? Carefulness goes into worry. Read the article again. Read the thing that we just read. Introverts. This excessive.
This excessive worrying can be disruptive, leading to anxiety, stress, and even depression.
This excessive worrying can be disruptive, leading to anxiety, stress, and even depression. That's why it says, carefulness bringeth age before the time. Carefulness bringing age before the time is you start to look older. You start to age more because you're so stressed out. This cannot happen among Israel. That's why that whole shyness and all, you can't do that. You can't be like that. Go back to the article. Go all the way. Go back up to the table of contents. All right, difficulty communicating. All right, read that.
Difficulty communicating. Expressing oneself can be tough for introverts. Finding the right words in conversations and coping with the pressure of social situations can be difficult. Others may mistakenly view an introvert's reserved nature as rudeness or disinterested.
Now, I have been in situations where I wasn't talking, but nobody thought that I was rude. Nobody thought that I was disinterested. So how would you be rude looking or disinterested? Matter of fact, give me 1 Thessalonians 5:22, because the article keeps saying it may give the impression, it may give the look, it may seem like. Well, we're going to show you what the scriptures say. Read that.
The book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 22. Abstain from all appearance of evil.
Abstain from all what?
All appearance of evil.
All appearance of evil. If you appear rude, people are going to think you're rude. If you appear disinterested, people are going to think you're disinterested. You only appear disinterested if people are trying to talk to you and you're not trying to respond back. You only seem rude if people are trying to interact with you and you're not trying to interact back. Or you look like you got the stank face. And everybody that knows me knows that I hate a stank face. Go back to the article.
Practice and patience can help introverts develop better communication skills.
Yeah, so can these scriptures. Go to Sirach chapter 4, verse 23. Practice and patience.
The book of Sirach, chapter 4, verse 23. And refrain not to speak when there is occasion to do good.
So there's always an occasion to do good in this truth. Don't refrain to speak. Don't hold back your words. Read on.
And hide not thy wisdom in her beauty.
Don't hide your wisdom in her beauty. Don't hide your wisdom in her beauty. How are we going to know that you have wisdom? You have to talk. You have to come out of your shell. You have to stop avoiding interaction, especially when you are a prophet. When you're a prophet, we have to judge things every day, whether it's in regular life, whether it's at camp, whether it's in the body. We have to judge things constantly. And you got to filter everything through the scriptures. So how are they going to know that you have wisdom? You don't open your mouth up. Your wisdom is always going to be hidden. Go to Malachi 3:16.
Yes, sir.
So as far as communication goes, we have to fix this when it comes to introversion. Especially if you've been called into this truth and you're a man. You can't be no introvert man. You on the street, powerful as hell, Kwam Yasharala, strong in the Lord and the power of his might, but you scared to call a brother on the phone. How much sense that make? Read that.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another.
They that feared the Lord spake often one to another. In order to know that you fear the Lord, one of the things that you show is speaking often to your brothers. Ain't no quiet prophets around here. We got to understand that we that fear the Lord got to speak to one another. And this is how important it is. Read on.
And the Lord hearkened and heard it.
The Lord hearkened and heard us communicate to each other. Read.
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord.
Imagine that. Imagine that. The Lord is writing, the Lord got the angels writing, Matthew continuously communicates with Zadiah. Aaron continually communicates with Micah. And they write in a book of remembrance on it. I don't know about y'all. I want to be in that book of remembrance. What you got to hide for? A lot of y'all avoid that stuff because you got secret sins. I'm going to just be honest. A lot of y'all mask your secret sins as being an introvert. That's why you don't want to talk to nobody, because you're afraid of what you might say about yourself. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 6. This is a little tidbit for those that may have a little something in this world. Go ahead.
What verse you want, sir?
17.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded.
Don't be high-minded. You got money, the Lord blessed you, because that money ain't yours. It ain't even got your face on it. If the bank shut down, you lose your money. So that money ain't yours. It's uncertain riches. That's what it is. So if you're rich in this world, don't be high-minded, because the Lord could take it away from you. Read.
Nor trust in uncertain riches.
All of those riches are uncertain because you didn't get them. The Lord allowed your enemies to give you those things. Go ahead.
But in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy.
Read.
That they do good, that they be rich in good works.
Make sure that you're rich in good works. Don't be rich monetarily and poor as hell in good works. You poor as hell because you don't do nothing for nobody. But you rich though. You got money. You got bread. Or you got a whole lot. You got a whole loaf of bread. And don't share nothing with nobody. Read.
Ready to distribute.
Ready to distribute, because we are poor in spirit. We are poor in this world. So you got to be ready to help out. That's why the Booster Club is important. That's why alms is important. That's why these fundraisers are important. Because people fall on hard times. And ain't nobody else going to do for us but us. That's why we got to take care of each other. And if you have more, give more. But that's a level of your faith. You got to figure that out among your spirit. Read.
Willing to communicate.
Willing to communicate. You got to communicate. You rich, you got resources, you have to communicate. Because there's a thing now where they're starting to push introverted business ownership. Meaning you could just stay off by yourself, don't have to really deal with nobody, and still be an entrepreneur. That's what Esau is pushing right now. They don't want social interaction. If you get social interaction, especially if you get social interaction with us, you might find yourself enlightened about what's really going on in the world. You might find out that the world that you see is not the world that is. You might find out that there's something that's coming and you need to prepare for it. That's what might happen. Read on.
Laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life.
We have to lay up that good foundation. Want to know why? Because the time to come is very soon. We got to lay up in store those riches in the kingdom, not just riches on earth. Go to Hebrews chapter 13. And verse 16.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not.
So to do good, which is keep the commandments, and to communicate, Malachi 3:16, don't forget to do it. Why? Read.
For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased.
What did God call doing good and communicating? With such what?
with such sacrifices.
God called those sacrifices that he's well pleased with. Yes, it's a sacrifice picking up the phone and calling somebody. It may be a sacrifice for you. You may have to sacrifice your pride. You may have to sacrifice your way of thinking. You may have to sacrifice your time. But guess what? God is well pleased with that. Instead of you just being off by yourself, you never know what somebody is going with. They could be at home by themselves, Satan tearing their behind up. But you don't call, you don't reach out, you don't do nothing. Because I know we all love when Satan starts attacking us and that phone ring. And right before you was about to give in on sending that DM or clicking on that website, somebody called you. Hey, Shalom, bro, what's going on? Hey, nothing, what's going on? What's happening with you? You all right? You know you appreciate that. Imagine if they was an introvert. Would that happen for you? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Read it again.
But to do good and to communicate, forget not. For with such sacrifices, God is well pleased.
God is well pleased with those sacrifices. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7.
What verse?
Verse 8.
Yes, sir. The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 8. I preferred her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches nothing in comparison of her.
Talking about wisdom. Read on.
Neither I compared unto her any precious stone, because all gold in respect of her is as little as sand.
So, wisdom outweighs all gold, all silver, all precious stones. That's why the scriptures say, I know you're poor, but you're rich. Look at the amount of wisdom that comes out of men that never went to theology school, out of men that came straight out of the hood, in the projects, the ones that clean your toilets, cut your grass, crunch your numbers, bag your groceries. Look at how much wisdom comes out of those same men. Read on.
And silver shall be counted as clay before her.
Because, yeah, you could have all of the money in the world and be dumb. That's a lot of celebrities. A lot of these celebrities got all the money in the world, dumb as hell. Read.
I loved her above health and beauty.
Because I like that part of the scripture because they have a lot of people that we run into. As soon as we start talking about the laws and we get to the diet, everybody love to bring up Dr. Sebi. Now, Dr. Sebi did do a lot of good things as far as finding out health ways and herbs and plants and healing. Because, you know, the scriptures say God made medicines out of the earth. And he found out a lot of those things and passed that information on to a lot of us. But guess what? Once he got into the hands of the enemy, he got put to death. So no amount of health can stop the judgment of God. No amount of health can delay the sentence of death. No amount of it. That's why it's better to have wisdom. Because wisdom, you're going to get health. With wisdom, if it be the Lord's will, you're going to get riches. Sometimes it ain't the Lord's will for you to be rich. Because he know once you get rich, wisdom leaves you. Read on.
And chose to have her instead of light. For the light that cometh from her never goeth out.
The light that comes from wisdom never goes out. Unless you lead the truth, then that light gonna go out. Go ahead.
All good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hand.
Because Solomon was the richest, wisest king. Go ahead.
And I rejoiced in them all, because wisdom goeth before them. And I knew not that she was the mother of them.
Wisdom is the mother of the riches, of the gold, the silver, the precious stones. Wisdom is the mother of the light that never goes out. Wisdom is the mother of all of that. Read.
I learned diligently and do communicate with her liberally.
He learned wisdom and he communicates wisdom, meaning he teaches the people. That's why we have Proverbs, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. That's why we have these things, because he communicated those things liberally. He said everything that we needed to know. Everything that you want to know about the world, you can find it in the writing, in the Wisdom of Solomon. Whether it be Proverbs, whether it be Wisdom of Solomon, the book, Song of Solomon, Ecclesiastes. There's a whole lot of wisdom that can be found in these writings. And he found them. And he communicates her liberally. That's what we have to do, communicate these things liberally. Communication is a big part of overcoming being an introvert. I'm going to just let you know that right now. That's why there's so many scriptures that goes into communication. Speaking, talking. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 5. I'm going to show you what happens with people that have a problem with communicating. Matter of fact, go back to the article. Practice patience. Read it again.
Practicing patience can help introverts develop better communication skills, such as listening and
active listening.
Such as active listening and succinct speaking. Respect for an introvert's need for alone time is also important.
Yeah. We prophets, we don't get alone time because your phone always going to ring and there's always going to be something that you need to handle. Read on.
It's worth nothing that difficulty communicating looks different for everyone. Some introverts may have mild shyness and anxiety, while others may have speech impediments or selective mutism.
Selective mutism. Esau could come, bruh. Esau could make up some stuff. Selective mutism. Selective mutism. How the hell you select when you gonna be quiet? The only selective mutism that you should have is when you, like I said before, around the elders. Speak if there be need of thee. But when you with your people, when you with your peers, when it's a setting to get to know one another, how you have selective mutism then? Go back to the scriptures, 1 Timothy 5 and 11. This is what happens when selective mutism happens, when weak communication happens, when you're so introverted and so caught in your own thoughts that now you don't know what to say, what to do. This is what happens, and a lot of times it happens with women. Read that.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 11. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Christ, they will marry.
So younger widows, it's talking about young women, because a lot of times this type of stuff happens with sisters. Read.
Having damnation, because they have cast off their first faith.
So they no longer worry about doing the work of God because they still young. So they go to burning, they go to lusting, they want to do this, they want to do that. They become less profitable in their work because they worried about a man. They want somebody. They lonely. That's why I said the younger widows refuse, because they're going to want to get married again. But when they don't get married, this goes for you single sisters and you married ones that got introvertism. Read.
Verse 13. And withal they learn to be idle.
They learn to be what?
They learn to be idle.
They learn to be idle. Introvert personalities lead to a lot of idleness. Read.
Wandering about from house to house.
They go wandering about from house to house because they want selective, subdued interactions. They have selective mutism. So around the older sisters, they may not speak as much. Around the young sisters, they speak all the time. Around the older sisters, they don't want to counsel with them. But they'll counsel with a sister that's been in after them because they're the same age. You don't see how weird that is? I'm 15. I'm going to counsel with another 15-year-old about things to do when I'm 20. How that work? Read on.
And not only idle, but tattlers.
This is what happens when you're idle. And that selective mutism kicks in. Because you're going to be talking about things that you shouldn't talk about. And the other person may be called an introvert, and they have controversy avoidment. So now they're not correcting you. You over there gossiping, and they don't want to ruffle your feathers, so they let you talk. That's unprofitable for the body. Read on.
But tattlers also and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
That's what happens when you have poor communication. You don't know when to speak and when not to speak. You don't know what to speak about, what not to speak about. You don't know how to talk to people. You upbraid. You call people out their name. You got all these things going on because you don't really know how to communicate because you don't practice communication. You don't apply Malachi 3:16. So you don't know how to talk to this person or that person. You don't know what their likes or dislikes are. But you sure find out how to push their buttons all the time. They always offended every time you speak because you don't know how to communicate effectively. Go back to the article. Empathy.
Empathy and understanding should be shown to each individual.
Read on.
Many notable figures.
Oh, never mind. Go back up to the table of contents. Now, let's go to work relationships. Go ahead.
Work relationships. At work, relationships between individuals are essential for an organization's success. Negative traits such as arrogance, insensitivity, or dishonesty can seriously harm interpersonal relationships with colleagues. This can lead to a lack of cooperation, low productivity, and a feeling of unease among employees.
So, one part of the article said that introverts may seem like they're rude or disinterested. They got selective mutism. In a workplace, that's not good to have. And guess what? This truth is our workplace. So if you're not vocal, if you're not actively doing what the scriptures have told you to do in communicating, you're not going to be an effective leader. Go to that TikTok video, Poor Teamwork.
Introverts are routinely passed over for leadership positions. Here's where the bias comes in. Our workplaces, they are designed mostly for extroverts, and for extroverts' need for lots of stimulation.
Stop. So it says that a lot of times introverts are passed over for leadership positions. I hear this a lot from a lot of brothers. What do I got to do to be this rank? What do I got to do to be that rank? That's why leadership says you should be doing the work of that rank before you even get it. But this is what happens when you have that need to want to grow, but you ain't doing what you should do to grow. This is what happens. Go to Sirach 13:10.
Yes, sir.
Sirach chapter 13, verse 10. What I got to do, officer? I want to be a 20. What I got to do to be a 50? This is what happens. Read that.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 13, verse 10. Press thou not upon him, lest thou be put back. Stand not far off, lest thou be forgotten.
So when it comes to leadership, you don't want to press on them because they say, whoa, man, chill out. Back. You're doing too much. And don't stand too far off or else you'll be forgotten. A lot of people, they stand too far off and they get forgotten. That's why the Edomite lady said a lot of introverts get passed over for leadership roles. Why? Because they stand too far off. You're not in the mix. You can't be a leader and be an introvert. You can't be a leader and then you don't know how to effectively communicate. You need alone time. How you gonna be a leader? You call your supervisor for an issue, they not answering their phone because they need alone time. Something happened in the workplace that needs their direct attention, they got selective mutism. A issue needs to be solved, they avoid confrontation. They avoid decision making. They don't communicate with their superiors and get counsel on what to do because they don't like small talk. They don't know how to initiate conversation. See how all of this stuff is connected? Read on.
Affect not to be made equal unto him in talk.
That's what a lot of people try to do. When you don't really effectively know how to communicate, then you'll try to make yourself equal to the man above you. Go ahead.
And believe not his many words.
Uh-huh.
For with much communication.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed. So go to poor teamwork now.
Here are some of the darker traits of introverts. Number 1, bad attitude towards teamwork. Do you hate working in a team? Perhaps you secretly think the work you produce by yourself is better than what a group of people produces.
Ooh,
The dark side of it.
She said, maybe you think that your work is better than the rest of the teams. Play on.
Is thinking that working as a team will only lead to drama, conflicts, and arguments. Being in a group setting can feel draining, so you might find yourself always going solo.
So you think your ideas are the best than everybody else's. You don't like working in that group, so you separate yourself. All of these are so-called traits of an introvert. That's not supposed to be like that in the scriptures. Give me Philippians chapter 2, verse 1. For that, oh, I think my ideas are the best. And we come across people like that in the truth. You come across people like that in the truth, where they'll have an idea and they say, what you think about that? No, I don't think we're going to do that. Wait, what? What you mean? They already had it in their head that their idea was so good, it was going to be automatically accepted by you. And then when it's not accepted or it's not a good idea for that time, now I'm offended. Well, I'm not going to say no more ideas. Well, I'm just not going to work together with the group no more. I'm going to just go over here and do my own thing. That stuff needs to stop in Israel. Read that, Philippians chapter 2 and verse 2.
The book of Philippians chapter 2, verse 2. Fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind.
We got to be of one accord, of one mind. That's why we got to have the same love. But how you going to know if you got the same love if you don't communicate? How you going to know you got the same love and you avoid social interactions? Read on.
Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory.
What that video just showed was strife and vainglory. All because you an introvert, you don't know how to work in a team, strife and vainglory follows. Why? Well, my ideas are the best. And if y'all ain't taking my ideas, then I'm going to take my ball and go play. I'm going to go home. Read on.
But in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves.
That's what introverts don't do. They don't esteem others better than themselves because they're too busy stuck in their own mind worrying about themselves. Read.
Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others.
That's what you have to start doing. As a leader especially, you got to look on the things of others. It's not about you once you're a leader. It's not about you once you step out of that follow role into a leader role. It's not about you. You have to communicate. You have to make decisions. You have to address confrontation. You have to do these things. You cannot separate yourself. There is no alone time. That's why I can see why Esau is saying this, because Esau want to pat you on your back and tell you everything gonna be all right. But as a prophet of God, it is not all right. Go back to the article. Complaints.
Complaints against these individuals can make the environment even more toxic. People may try to avoid working together, resulting in career stagnation.
That's how people end up in a job and they've been there for 15 years and they ain't never leveled up because they don't talk to nobody. Don't none of their supervisors really know them. That's how people be stagnant in this truth. Don't nobody know you. Don't nobody know your works. You don't talk to nobody. You don't travel. You don't put in no bricks nowhere. But you want the rank though. You want the assignments though. You want to be part of the glamour without being part of the hard work. You won't make it to the top without climbing the stairs. We got to stop that. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 5.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 5. Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but ministers by whom ye believed?
So without Paul and without Apollos, a lot of the churches back then wouldn't have gotten edified. And let's see why. Read on.
Even as the Lord gave to every man,
Read.
I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase.
If Paul wouldn't have planted, he'd have been an introvert. He wasn't going to plant. Therefore, Apollos couldn't water. Or if Paul planted and Apollos was an introvert, then there would have been no watering. Then there would have been no increase. You can't be an introvert. I don't really know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm just so shy. I don't. The body can't grow like that. We all work together. Read on.
So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase.
God gives the increase. Read on.
Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one.
You can't be one if you're thinking about yourself. Those that plant and those that water are one. You can't be one with the waterer or the planter if you're thinking about yourself. Read.
And every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor.
How you going to receive a reward according to your own labor and you avoid everything? You don't communicate. You avoid confrontation. You avoid social interaction. You avoid speaking. You avoid all of these different things. How you going to put in work? How you going to be judged with your own labor? How you going to get the reward for your labor and there's no labor to reward you for? Read.
For we are laborers together with God.
We are what?
For we are laborers together with God.
We're laborers together. You got to work together. Ain't no introverts on the team. You know how they say there's no I in team? Yeah, that I stand for introvert. Ain't no introverts on the team. We all work as one cohesive unit. Read.
Ye are God's husbandry. Ye are God's building.
You are God's husbandry. You are God's building. How you going to have a building and the a brick that's needed to hold the pillar up is all the way over there by itself? One of the pillars decides, I don't know how to hold up the building, so I'm gonna just go outside. I don't like being social. I'm socially awkward, so I'm not gonna be around the other pillars. I'm gonna be over here by myself. The building will fall. The building will fall. We got to understand that we're all working together as one in this thing. It's not about I. It's not about me. It's about us, the team, we. That's what it's about. Here's a good thing. You can't overthink if you're not thinking for yourself. Deacon Laba said all the time, stop thinking. You ain't got to think. Just do. We telling you what to do. We showing you in the scriptures what to do. You ain't got to overthink nothing. All you got to do is follow. How hard is that? Read on.
Verse 10. According to the grace of God, which is given unto me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon.
We all have to build. Leadership goes and lays the foundation, and then we come back and we build on that foundation. But you can't be a builder if you're an introvert. Go to Philemon, verse 23. Philemon. We used to say Philemon. Philemon, verse 23.
The book of Philemon, verse 23. There salute thee, Ephras, my fellow prisoner in Christ.
Read.
Marcus,
Aristarchus,
Demas, Lucas, my fellow laborers.
my what?
My fellow laborers.
How was he going to have fellow laborers if these brothers was introverted? They wasn't going to be there for the work. They was going to avoid all of that stuff. Look at the controversy Paul went through. Paul was a fire starter. You can't be no introvert around Paul. He going there to turn the world up right side up. He going to turn their world upside down. How you going to be an introvert with all of that stuff going on? That's why he saluted his fellow laborers, even though Demas was one of the ones that fell out. But still, he was there. He was doing the work for his dispensation of time. Go to Acts chapter 15, verse 22. Leadership talks about this stuff all the time, that we need teams. We need a team of brothers when you go out and teach. You need teams, and you need brothers that you know. How you going to get known for the team? How you going to get picked? Don't nobody know who you are or what you do. You standing so far off, brothers have forgot you. Oh, man, brothers have forgot me. Well, what did you do? Did you reach out? No. You expected somebody else to reach out? Yes. Why would you think that? Overthinking. Having that evil suspicion to overthrow your judgment. You think people are supposed to just come to you for everything. We got to wear out your doorsteps. That's not how it goes. Read that.
The book of Acts, chapter 15, verse 22. Then pleased it with the apostles and elders, with the whole church, to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch, with Paul and Barnabas, namely Judas, surnamed Barsabbas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren.
So Paul had a team. It was Paul, Barnabas, Judas, Barsabbas, and Silas. These men went with Paul. Paul had a squad, and they was going to teach the gospel. That's what needs to happen in this truth, but you can't do it with introverted brothers, because introverted brothers, like the first thing said, are emotional. You don't need no emotional brothers doing the work. You can't have emotional brothers doing the work. Emotional brothers that do the work are going to hinder the work, because they're not going to know how to deal with the people. They're not going to be able to relate to the people, because it already said that empathy is lacking in an introvert, because all they thinking about is what's going on in their mind. They're not thinking about the needs of others. They're thinking about themselves. That's what happens. Go to Acts 4:33.
Yes, sir. The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 33. And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. And great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked. For as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold.
Read.
And laid them down at the apostles' feet. And distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
So in this business, brothers got to work together because it benefits the people. That's why it's important for us to get out of our own head, out of our own way. We got to understand that working together in this line of work that we do, because it don't matter if you're a mechanic, if you're a truck driver, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're a contractor, if you drive Uber or deliver food for Domino's Pizza, your profession is profit. That's what you do. Your profession is what can you do for this truth. That's your profession. Because you're an Israelite all the time, not just on the Sabbath and feast days. You're an Israelite all the time. You understand? So, go to Psalms chapter 133. Psalms 133 and 1. Read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
It's good and pleasant for brethren to dwell together in unity. Unity is one of the most important things in this truth because we've been separated and divided throughout this captivity. So we have to come together. We have to get over whatever hangups that we have in our own head. Put that stuff to the side and work toward the common goal. Ephesians 4 and 3. Ephesians.
Go ahead.
You ready?
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 3. Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace.
When it says endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace, Google the definition of endeavoring. And I want the synonyms. And this is one of my favorite things to do when I'm explaining this scripture right here because of the synonyms that come with it. Because I've heard a lot of people say a lot of different things when it comes to working together, unifying, and all kind of things. All right?
Endeavor. Try hard to do or achieve something.
So that's I like that, but I like the similar words. Go to similar words. Let's see some of them things.
All right. Try, attempt, venture, undertake, aspire, aim, seek, set out, strive, struggle, labor.
So you got to try, struggle, labor. Go ahead.
Toil, work hard.
Work what?
Work hard.
You got to work hard at unity. When it says endeavoring to keep the unity, you got to work hard at unity. Go ahead.
Try hard.
Try hard at unity. Read.
Exert oneself.
You have to exert yourself for unity. Go down one. I want the one after go all out. It's right there. Above, move heaven and earth.
All right.
Go all out.
Go all out. Bend over backwards.
That's one of the phrases that I heard a lot in this truth. I ain't trying to bend over backwards to please nobody. Well, you're not endeavoring to keep the unity. You got to bend over backwards sometimes to keep the unity going. Read.
Break one's neck.
You got to break your neck to keep the unity going. Go ahead.
Bust a gut.
Go ahead.
Move heaven and earth.
You got to move heaven and earth to keep the unity. Why? Because we come from a culture of disunity. We not unified as a people. Because if we're not talking about sports or females, a lot of us ain't got no other conversation. It get real quiet when other things start coming up, when life start coming up, when marriage start coming up, when children start coming up, when being a responsible adult comes up, history comes up, real life comes up, everybody get quiet. Strike up a conversation about Kobe or LeBron, you're going to get 1,000 different cooperators. Everybody going to be part of the conversation then. Go to Acts chapter 11. And verse 28.
Yes, sir. The book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 28. And there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar.
Read.
Then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief.
Relief means aid. There was a dearth or a famine in the land, and the disciples came together to give relief. Read.
Relief unto the brethren which dwelt in Judea.
Imagine if they wasn't working together as a team. They wouldn't have been able to send relief to those brothers. They wouldn't have been able to send help. If they was thinking about themselves, they wouldn't have been able to do that. If they was introverted, they wouldn't have been able to do that. But because they looked upon the needs of others, because they esteemed others better than themselves, they said, damn, our brothers need help over there. Let's make some decisions, quick decision-making skills, and let's go help them. That's what we got to do in this truth. That's what we have to do in this truth. Go back to the table of go back to the article. Read that.
Negative traits can have a huge impact on work culture, ruining the atmosphere and affecting everyone.
That goes to your introverts that have poor work skills or poor relationship at work. Go ahead.
Poor communication, a lack of teamwork, and difficulty dealing with pressure are just a few of the many traits that prevent collaboration, cause misunderstandings, and decrease efficiency.
Those are the traits of what happens with an introvert at work. And a lot of that stuff happens in this truth. A lot of it happens in this truth. You decrease efficiency because you can't communicate. You decrease efficiency, go back up a little bit, because you have poor communication, you lack teamwork, and you lack the ability to deal with pressure. That's why when leadership come down on you, you get easily offended. When your brothers next to you start correcting you, telling you to step your game up, you get easily offended. But you don't know how to apply Matthew 18, so you start murmuring to your other introverted friend. We got to stop that. Go back to the table of contents. Now go to friendships. Read that.
Friendships, negative traits in human connections, perilous effects. In human bonds, positive traits such as kindness, empathy, and honesty can create strong relationships.
Go to Proverbs 18:24. It said, kindness, empathy, and honesty can create strong relationships. Let's see if the scriptures talk about that. Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 24.
Yes, sir. The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 24. A man that has many friends must show himself friendly.
If you have many friends, you got to show yourself friendly. That's why a lot of people that claim to be introverts be like, I ain't got a lot of friends because I don't really trust a lot of people. That's your vain opinion. The new person that came into your life gave you no reason to not trust them. Unless they give you a reason to not trust them, What's the issue? They didn't do nothing to you, but your own vain opinion clouded your judgment. Now you got an evil suspicion about everybody that come around you. Read.
And there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
But you'll never find that friend if you don't show yourself friendly, if you don't go through things. Friends that turn into brothers, more than likely, y'all have been through some things. Y'all done had controversy with one another. Y'all done had disagreements. But y'all got over it, and you gained your brother because you knew how to communicate. You knew how to apply Matthew 18. You knew how to express yourself at the right time. You even knew how to wink at ignorance. Go back to the article. But negative.
Negative habits.
No.
But negative traits such as anger, jealousy, and deceit can be seen early on and can lead to poor outcomes.
You can see early on how a person starts to feel. Go to 1 Timothy chapter 5. I was reading this earlier. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 24.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 24. Some men's sin are open beforehand, going before to judgment, and some men, they follow after.
It says some men's sins are open beforehand. Meaning you could tell that they going through something before they even speak. You could tell they got something going on. They got that, like they say, they got some issue with them. You could tell that before they even open their mouth. Because some things you can see beforehand. Go back to the article. Go ahead, negative habits.
Negative habits impacts on friendships. Negative qualities can have a bad effect on friendships. They can destroy trust, cause arguments and trouble, breed unhappiness, and weaken self-esteem.
All of these different things are part of what the introvert has problems with. The introvert got problems with making friends. The introvert got problems with this. They got problems with that. They just got problems. We got enough problems being Israelites and taking down this kingdom. You going to add more to yourself because you want to call yourself an introvert? Get over it. But this is how you do it. Go to Sirach chapter 39, verse 1. This is how you get over those negative friendship traits that introverts tend to have.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies.
You're going to seek out wisdom. But who are you going to learn that wisdom from? Read.
He will keep the sayings of the renowned men.
You're going to keep the sayings of the renowned men. How are you going to know the sayings of the renowned men? Because you're going to be around them. You're going to show yourself friendly and be around renowned men. Go ahead.
And where subtle parables are, he will be there also.
And wherever they talking about wisdom, whenever they talking about scriptures, whenever they breaking stuff down, you right there listening with a smile on your face, eager to learn and listen. Read.
He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables.
You're going to ask questions. You're going to get answers. You're going to learn more. Read.
He shall serve among great men.
How you going to serve among great men if you don't come around? But when you do start coming around, when you do apply these scriptures, you're building those friendships. Because guess what? You're no longer standing afar off. So when one of the other young men, and when I say young men, I mean people that are under the bishops and the deacons, whenever they have an opportunity to go around leadership, they can say, oh, yeah, hey, can he come too? Yeah, do you vouch for him? Yeah, hey, this brother solid. He do this, he do that. He put in a lot of work. All right, come on in. But if that don't happen, and you just thinking in your head, I sure wish somebody would come and introduce me to leadership. I sure wish somebody would invite me somewhere. But you ain't saying it out loud. You just saying it in your head. And when you never get invited and you see all of the pictures and everybody starting to grow bonds around you and you're not part of it, now it's, oh, I think there's cliques. I think there's friendship stuff going on over there. I think there's respect to persons going on. Once again, your vain opinion has now overthrown your judgment. Because instead of being active, you just sit in the back and just wait for everybody else to come flocking to you. And that don't happen in real life. In your head, it might happen all the time. But that don't happen in real life. Read on.
And appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries.
You can travel through strange countries. How? Because you are well known, well reported of. So when those trips start coming around, they reach for your name. I want that brother to come. Shoot, he be putting in all kind of bricks. We always see him everywhere. We want him to be a part of this. Read.
For he had tried the good and the evil among men.
Because you were tried. You may have gone through some things in this truth, and you stayed and you stuck it out. You may have done wondrous works in this truth, and you remained humble. People like that want you around. People like that are wanted around. But if you're arrogant, like the article was talking about, if you passive aggressive, if you emotional as hell, you're not going to get wanted to be around. Nobody going to want you to be around them. You're going to get passed over every single time. That's why the Edomite lady had to tell you, introverts are passed over for leadership roles. Because being a leader requires you to be an extrovert, because you got to be the face of whatever you're leading. You got to be the face of whatever the organization is, because you're leading. You're up front. Go to Sirach 9 and 18. Matter of fact, Sirach 9 and 15. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 9, verse 15. Let thy talk be with the wise.
And you got to let your talk be with the wise. How? Because you're going to be around those wise men. Read.
And all thy communication in the law of the Most High.
You don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to start the conversation. Let your communication be in the law of the Most High. Talk about the Bible. What's wrong with that? Hey, man, I was reading this scripture, man. I was going over this, man. This thing was heavy as hell. Look what I saw. And they could already know it. So what? You talking about the scriptures. Let all your communication be in the law of the Most High. We could be talking about the 10 Commandments. So what? It might edify somebody. There may be something in Exodus chapter 20 that somebody just wasn't focusing on. They may have put a link between the 10th commandment, which is thou shalt not covet, and idolatry, and now the first commandment comes back into play. And then from the first commandment coming into play, now they're looking at all of the things that was idolatry in the world. And now the conversation then took 3-4 different turns, and now y'all have been talking on the phone or in person or whatever the case may be for an hour and a half about scriptures. You never know. Let your communication be in the law of the Most High. Read on.
And let just men eat and drink with thee.
That's why the scriptures talk about showing yourself friendly, proving a friend. Let just men eat and drink with thee. Don't let everybody by you. The scriptures talk about that. Let not every man into your house. But you, in order to know that they just men, you got to be around them. Y'all have to be around one another. Other than that, you're going to assume they're a just man, or you're going to assume that they're not a just man. Either way, it's your vain opinion, not founded on anything but emotion. Read on.
And let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord.
That's why we always say, all praise to the Most High. Hey, bro, congratulations. All praise to the Most High. It's not me. I didn't do this for myself. The Lord did it. The Lord saw fit to be in this position. This is what I'm going to do. Man, I'm trying to get a job like you. Why? Shoot, you've been making that money. But see, my money is used for the truth. There was once a brother that was among us. Brother had a Maserati. Everybody wanted this dude's job. Like, man, he making 6 figures. That dude driving Maserati. But if you had a Maserati, would you have even come to the Sabbath? Would you even come to the school? Because we talk about oppression. You with a Maserati, you don't think you oppressed. You got a Maserati. The riches and the cares of this world would have choked you. You would have been kind of unprofitable. But no. You need the Honda. You need the Toyota. You need that little 2-door car to keep you humble. That's why a lot of times it's not meant for a lot of us to be rich. Not meant for a lot of us to have a lot of money. Just a few. Because if we had it, we'd be wicked as hell. Read on.
Verse 17. For the hand of the artificer, the work shall be commended. And the wise ruler of the people for his speech.
You're commended for your work. And you're commended for your wisdom. Read.
A man of an ill tongue is dangerous in his city. And he that is rash in his talk shall be hated.
You that are rash in your talk, you're going to be hated. You're going to be hated. That's why in business, they said that you're passed over for leadership roles, because you're not going to be the one to run to in order for that role to be fulfilled. Because you have none of the skills that a leader needs. Not an effective communicator, over emotional. You by yourself all the time. You separate yourself. That's not what leaders do. You understand? That's not what leaders do. So, I'm going to end it right there. Matter of fact, I'm going to do one more scripture. Titus 3:8. Titus 3:8.
You ready, sir?
Yep, read.
The book of Titus, chapter 3, verse 8. This is a faithful saying, and these things I will that thou affirm constantly, that they which have believed in God might be careful to maintain good works. These things are good and profitable unto men.
So these things are good and profitable unto men if you maintain good works. And part of those good works is overcoming that introverted mentality. All right? So I pray this was edifying for you brothers and sisters. Lord's will somebody get something out of this. Once again, Captain Matthew, IUIC New Orleans, and I say shalom.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord.